Hello my friends, 'tis the season for celebrating bunnies. That's right, as of January 22nd, we will have entered the Year of the Rabbit in the Chinese New Year, so that means here at the Paraspectre channel, we should also be celebrating our long-eared friends. A fun fact about me, my favorite book of all time is Watership Down.
It's about bunnies.
It's whimsical but dark. It's a children's story but has a lot of subtext for adults. It's sad, hopeful, scary, and yes, it is all about bunnies. After reading it for the first time, I seriously viewed rabbits I see in the wild very differently. If you get engrossed in the story, you start to realize how scary the world is in the eyes of a rabbit. So what better way to celebrate them than for me to do another A Look At video like I did with the Eeveelutions. I had so much fun making that video and I was surprised to see how well it did in relation to the other videos on my channel. So let's do more of these. But here's the thing, Pokemon are clearly based on animals, fictional creatures, objects, all of that good stuff. Some of them are obvious and some of them are a blend of a lot of ideas into one. So there are actually only 8 of what would be classified as legitimate rabbit Pokemon, either in the Pokedex name or description or whatever. I will absolutely be discussing them one by one, just like I did with each Eeveelution. But I also counted 15 other Pokemon that at least have some rabbit characteristics. There are probably more, but this is what I came up with. You could argue that some of these don't resemble rabbits in any way, you could argue that they are for sure based on rabbits, but a lot of it really is up to interpretation. That's kind of the fun of Pokemon, you know? So before I get into the main 8, I just want to do a quick run through of the ones with some rabbit qualities, because they need to be represented too. First we have all 6 Pokemon from the Nidoran family. Nidoran Female, Nidorina, Nidoqueen, Nidoran Male, Nidorino, and Nidoking. To be honest, I didn't really think this when I first played the blue version, but yeah, they really do have a lot in common with rabbits. I think the 2 Nidorans look way more rabbit-like than their evolved forms, but according to the Pokedex, they are considered the Poison Pin Pokemon. They both have rabbit faces and ears, and the way they sit and move are very rabbit-like. Nidorina and Nidorino are like bigger, uglier rabbits, and then Nidoqueen and Nidoking are more based on kaiju, or Japanese monsters like Godzilla, but they all kinda have rabbit-like features in their ears and faces. Next is both Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff, but definitely more so Wigglytuff. They're both considered to be balloon Pokemon, but Wigglytuff legit has rabbit ears. It's pink and almost resembles the Easter Bunny more so than an actual rabbit. But both Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff do have some connections with the mythical Moon Rabbit, which ties into the idea of Jigglypuff evolving with a moonstone. Next is going to be Umbreon, which I already went into detail on in the Eeveelutions video. I've also discussed this in my top 20 Pokemon video, so go check those out. Quite simply, I stated that I think there are 4 pairs of Eeveelutions that fall into 4 animal categories: dogs, cats, foxes, and rabbits. Umbreon is one of the rabbit ones, and again, can be seen to be tied with the Moon Rabbit. The next one is going to be Whismur, kind of a unique one here. It's small and pink with large floppy ears, and Bulbapedia even says that it could be based on rabbits or stuffed animals. But then when it evolves, Loudred and Exploud start to resemble a hippopotamus way more than a rabbit. But Whismur I can see. The next pair are the Gen 3 Pikachu clones, Plusle and Minun. At first I was like, no, these are obviously based on mice. They look just like Pikachu, just with red and blue features. But yeah, even Bulbapedia says they could be based on rabbits as well as mice. I think it's gotta be the long ears. Then we're going into Gen 5 with the mythical Victini. Bulbapedia says it's based on the method of cutting apples to make them look like rabbits. I've never heard of this being a thing, but there you go. I guess I can see it. 2 more until we get to the actual list. Another Gen 5 one here. Audino shares a lot of qualities with rabbits. Bulbapedia states it's like a nurse rabbit. I've never put much thought into Audino, but yeah, it's there. And finally, the other Eeveelution pairing to Umbreon, Sylveon does have some rabbit-like qualities. And also like with Umbreon, I discussed this last time. Both have some inspiration from the Moon Rabbit. Okay, it's time for the main list, the unquestionable bunny Pokemon. Like last time, I'll be going in Pokedex order here, and I'll do a personal ranking at the end. And as I always say, I'm mostly getting this information from Bulbapedia. I do not pretend to be an expert in this stuff. If you disagree with anything, it's just what I researched. This is a look at all of the rabbit Pokemon. For our first bunny, we're actually going to be skipping right over Gen 1 here, although I still say the 2 Nidoran and Wigglytuff are the Gen 1 bunnies. But the first actual rabbit Pokemon is number 184, Azumarill. Azumarill was originally a pure water type aqua rabbit Pokemon first seen in Gen 2. It later became a water fairy type when the fairy type was introduced in Gen 6. It is the final evolved form of Marill when it reaches level 18, and was also given a baby form in Gen 3 with Azumarill. It is a blue oval shape with long ears, a white belly resembling bubbles, and a jagged black tail with a blue sphere on the end. It's a little over 2 feet tall and about 62 pounds. It is based on a rabbit and a beach ball, as well as a flotation device. The blue upper half and white bottom half resembles counter shading in water mammals, which is meant to camouflage them. Its shape also resembles colored Easter eggs. The name Azumarill is a combination of azure, or a shade of blue, combined with its pre-evolved form of Marill, which in itself means mar, or sea, and rill, a small river or brook. Pokédex entries state that Azumarill can detect what's around it in fast-moving rivers and can camouflage itself in them, and it can create air-filled bubbles. Azumarill's best stat is HP, with attack, special attack, and speed being its worst. Azumarill's anime debut was in the episode Love Totodile Style, where it appeared in Trixie's Circus. So I didn't really care for Azumarill much at first, but it has since grown on me. I was a Pokemon fan during the time where people speculated that Marill was going to be a water-type Pikachu and would have the name Pikablu. So by the time I got the silver version for Christmas and found a Marill for the first time, I thought it was fine. It was just a cute little round blue mouse. And then when it evolves into Azumarill, very early on by the way, its design just didn't do much for me. The two of them actually resemble Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff way more than Pikachu and Raichu. Marill is spherical and Azumarill is an elongated oval with rabbit ears. But now, yeah, I do like Azumarill. It's nowhere near being one of my favorites, but it's a fine, cute Gen 2 water type. I don't think I ever seriously used one on any of my teams, but as I do still play Pokemon Go, I have about a dozen perfect IV 4-star Pokemon that I've obtained over the years, and Azumarill was one of the first ones. Next, we're going to skip over Gen 3 and go right to Gen 4. Number 427 is Buneary, the pure normal type rabbit Pokemon. Yes, the legit rabbit Pokemon, and was first seen in Gen 4. It's a small brown bipedal rabbit with tan fluffy fur on its bottom half and on the tips of its ears. It's pretty small at a little over 1 foot tall and about 12 pounds. It is based on, well, a rabbit. Yeah, that's literally all Bulbapedia says. The name Buneary is a combination of bunny and ear. Its Japanese name is Mimirol, which means ear and roll, in reference to it almost always having one ear rolled up. Pokédex entries stated that it can uncoil its ears with enough force to shatter boulders, and that it can sleep with its head tucked into its fur to stay warm. Buneary's best stat is its speed, with defense and special attack being its worst. Buneary's anime debut was in the episode Following a Maiden's Voyage, but just as a minor appearance. So I think Buneary is fine. It's a brown bunny with the gimmick of having really strong ears. I guess if you're going to make a normal type rabbit Pokemon, you gotta go with the ears being the focal point. But in doing my research here, I was kinda hoping there would be a little more to it than just filling a rabbit quota. I like when Pokemon have more complicated inspiration behind them that you may not necessarily notice right away. But then again, they can't all be that way. Sometimes a normal type Pokemon needs to just be that, normal. Rattata is just a rat, Noctowl is just an owl, and Buneary is just a rabbit. And that's fine, but it doesn't make it stand out much. It's a cute bunny, and that's about where it stands. But Buneary, of course, also evolves into a different rabbit. Number 428 is Lopunny, the pure normal type rabbit Pokemon who also has a mega form of normal fighting. Lopunny evolves from Buneary with high friendship. It's a bit bigger than Buneary at almost 4 feet and 73 pounds. Lopunny keeps the brown and tan motif, but now has extremely large ears that hang down with large eyebrows and is more slender in appearance. Lopunny is based on a lop rabbit and also resembles a fashion model wearing faux fur, as well as, yes, 1980s aerobic outfits. And on top of that, Lopunny somewhat resembles the Playboy Bunny or Bunny Girls. Yeah, Pokemon actually went there. Its large eyebrows are also similar to the jackalope. The name Lopunny is a combination of lop and bunny. Pokédex entries state that Lopunny's ears are very delicate and it can cloak itself with its ears if in danger, and has very powerful legs. Lopunny's best stat is its speed, with special attack being its worst. Lopunny's anime debut was in the episode Arriving in Style, being owned by Paris. Nope, not that Paris. So, yeah, Lopunny tends to be a bit of a controversial one. I mean, Bulbapedia directly states that it resembles bunny girls, which could and does make some people feel uncomfortable. Some Pokemon get criticism for looking too human-like, and especially if they start to slightly blur the lines of almost looking sexualized. Lopunny is absolutely one of these Pokemon in the same category as Jynx, Gardevoir, and Aromatisse. And yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I can't see it. It's a bit of a shame that it has this reputation too, because a Pokemon based on a lop-eared bunny is a good idea in concept. Lop rabbits are pretty awesome. So I think the design with the gigantic furry ears is pretty great. It's just that paired with its slender, playboy bunny body is a little off-putting. The next real rabbit Pokemon came in Gen 6. Number 659 is Bunnelby, the pure normal type digging Pokemon. It's about 1 foot tall and 11 pounds, almost exactly the same size as Buneary. Bunnelby is gray with very large ears with brown tips, almost resembling hands. It is also, of course, based on a rabbit, as well as trowels or shovels from it being able to dig with its ears. The name Bunnelby is a combination of bunny and tunnel with wallaby for some reason. Pokédex entries state that they use their ears to dig burrows and that they can become so strong that it can break roots with them easily. Bunnelby's best stat is its speed, with every other stat being roughly the same, but special attack is the lowest. Bunnelby's anime debut was in the episode Kalos, where dreams and adventures begin, being owned by Clement. Kinda like with Buneary, I think Bunnelby is also just fine. Buneary is the brown bunny with a lot of fluffy fur. Bunnelby is the gray bunny that can dig with its ears. I guess I gotta give points to Bunnelby there because that's a decently clever concept. And as I've stated before, ground is my favorite type. Oh, right, it's not ground type. So far, each rabbit Pokemon has put an emphasis on using their ears, except for Azumarill. So this Pokemon, whose entire gimmick is that it can dig for hours with its ears, is not even ground type. Weird. Oh, maybe its evolved form becomes ground, though. Ugh. Yes, at level 20, Bunnelby evolves into number 660, Diggersby, the normal ground-type digging Pokemon. It's about 3 feet tall and 95 pounds, making Diggersby the heaviest rabbit Pokemon. Diggersby is a more heavy-set gray rabbit with even larger ears and more pronounced hand-like features on the ends meant for digging. It has a brown face and brown and yellow fur around its stomach. Its design is based on, of course, a rabbit, as well as excavating equipment or a construction worker. The name Diggersby is a combination of digger and the suffix of Bunnelby. Pokédex entries state that Diggersby can easily dig or move heavy objects with its ears, but is also lazy. Its best stat is HP, with special attack being its worst. It had its debut in the anime in the episode To Catch a Pokemon Smuggler, under the ownership of Dolan, the titular Pokemon smuggler. Okay, I gotta be honest, I'm just not a fan of Diggersby. They really honed in on its ability to dig into the ground with its ears, and I'm glad they actually made it part ground type now, but man is it ugly. And yeah, kinda like with Pure Ugly, that's the point. It looks like a portly, lazy construction worker, but I just don't like its design at all. The fur around its stomach kinda looks like a tool belt, so there's some creativity there, but it's just not for me. And I get that there are people out there who like the ugly Pokemon, so if there are some Diggersby fans out there, good on you, you know? I've also stated before that I really dislike the entire Timber line too, so maybe Pokemon based on construction workers are really not my thing. The final 3 rabbits are all from the same evolution line, going all the way into Gen 8. That's right, we have the line of Fire-type starters. Number 813 is Scorbunny, the pure Fire-type rabbit Pokemon. At only 1 foot tall and not even 10 pounds, Scorbunny is the shortest and lightest of all of the rabbits, although it's just slightly smaller than Buneary and Bunnelby. Scorbunny is almost all white with orange and red tipped ears and feet, and has a yellow band across its nose. Its design is based on a white rabbit, with the band across its nose being a Japanese character design trope to show that it has a rambunctious personality. Its fire type could be based on the fact that rabbits tend to have high body temperatures, along with the Jataka tales, in which a rabbit was not burned by flames after jumping into the fire. The name Scorbunny is a combination of scorch and bunny. Pokédex entries state that the more it runs around, the hotter its fire energy gets. Its best stat is speed, with defense, special attack, and special defense all tied for its worst. Scorbunny debuted in the anime in the episode Settling the Scorbunny, where it was living with a group of Nickit in Winden, until eventually being caught by Go. So yeah, I think Scorbunny is a solid starting Pokemon. It's not my favorite fire starter, or even my favorite starting Pokemon from Gen 8. I took Grookey in my one and only playthrough of Sword, but Scorbunny is a close second for me. Also, it kinda has the same face as Chespin, so there's that. In fact, it kinda looks a lot like Chespin the more I look at it. Ah well. But it is cool that they took the fast-running nature of rabbits and adapted it to a fire type. I remember the reveal trailer for Gen 8 where it showed Scorbunny leaving patches of fire where it ran from. So yeah, I do like Scorbunny as a fire starter overall. And like all starting Pokemon, we have its middle stage. Number 814, Raboot, the pure Fire-type rabbit Pokemon that evolves from Scorbunny at 16. Raboot is 2 feet tall and just under 20 pounds, making Raboot the smallest evolved rabbit. Raboot has a light gray head and dark gray legs and midsection with reddish-orange limbs and what looks like a balaclava covering its face. Its design is based on a rabbit combined with a tracksuit that runners wear. The name Raboot is a combination of rabbit and boot. Pokédex entries state that its fur can protect it from the cold and it can kick berries off of trees. Its best stat is speed, with special attack being its worst. It debuted in the anime in the episode Kicking It From Here Into Tomorrow when Go's Scorbunny evolved into Raboot. So I'll be honest, I stated I like Scorbunny, but I think I like Raboot even more. I think it's one of the better designs for the middle stages of starter Pokemon. Maybe it's the nostalgia talking, but I would still say Charmeleon is my favorite fire middle stage for starters. But yeah, I really think Raboot would be second. The middle stages tend to look like the awkward adolescent phase, but I don't get that sense with Raboot. It takes the running gimmick of Scorbunny and turns it into a track runner. That's pretty perfect. I also like how it almost has a ninja look to it too with the face covering. It's a solid design and I don't have much that I dislike about it. And our final bunny Pokemon is of course going to be the final evolved stage of Scorbunny and Raboot. Number 815, Cinderace, the pure fire-type striker Pokemon. At 4'7" and just over 72 pounds, Cinderace is the tallest rabbit and actually the third heaviest, only behind Diggersby and Lopunny. Cinderace is mostly white with reddish orange, dark blue, and yellow throughout, mostly on its legs and face. Its design is based on a rabbit or hare combined with a soccer player, or football. The name Cinderace is a combination of cinder and ace, as well as race. Pokédex entries state that it can juggle a pebble with its feet to turn into a blazing soccer ball. Its best stats are easily speed and attack, with special attack being its worst. It debuted in the anime in the episode Sword and Shield, The Legends Awaken, when Go's Raboot finally evolved into Cinderace. So yeah, I said before that I took Grookey in my one and only playthrough of Sword, but I went into it not seeing what any of the starters evolve into. When mine finally evolved into Rillaboom, I wasn't too impressed. So I looked up the others, and I would say that I think Cinderace is the best of the three. I spoke of Inteleon in my video discussing the worst designed Pokemon, and while I do like Inteleon, and love that they actually went for a James Bond inspired Pokemon, I do think Cinderace is the more complete design. It goes from a small white bunny who leaves fire behind when it runs, to a track runner, and finally a soccer player. That's a pretty clever idea, really. I really like the idea that I can kick around a pebble to turn into a soccer ball on fire. Once I really learned about the final stages having a lot of British connections, I appreciated them more. Rillaboom taps into the British invasion music movement, Inteleon is the British spy, and Cinderace is the soccer player, the #1 sport there. I think it would probably be in my top 3 favorite final stage fire starters at this point though. Blaziken still takes the #1 spot. And there we have it. I feel pretty confident that I mentioned all of the rabbit Pokemon, at least among the ones that are riding that line. But of all the research I did, I kept seeing that these 8 are the true rabbits in the series, even though I would personally have both Nidoran and Wigglytuff on the list at least. Maybe that's just me. What do you think? For now, I will do like I did last time and rank the 8 rabbits myself based on personal preference. Number 8, Diggersby. I'm sorry, but Diggersby just sucks. If you love it, then that's awesome, but I really do not. It's honestly one of my least favorite designs in general, an easy number 8 for me. Number 7, Lopunny. Yeah, it's just a bit of an awkward one. I don't hate Lopunny, but yikes. I can see why some people wouldn't like it. Still better than Diggersby in my opinion. Number 6, Bunnelby. Bunnelby is just fine. They went for a theme with the digging ears, but come on, make it a ground type too. At least Diggersby has that, the one pro I have for it. But Bunnelby is a pretty average design. Number 5, Buneary. Just slightly better than Bunnelby for me. It's just a cute brown normal type rabbit, not a whole lot to it. I kinda like the fluffy fur and that it never really has both ears straight up though. Number 4, Cinderace. The final evolved form, while being my least favorite of the 3, is actually really close to the other 2. I think all 3 stages are pretty great actually. Cinderace has the soccer player gimmick, which I really do like, but it just ever so slightly falls at number 3 for me. Number 3, Azumarill, the eldest bunny of the 8. It took a little while for me to appreciate Azumarill, but yeah, I would say I like it overall. I prefer Marill a little more, but I like Azumarill's camouflage aspect and that it looks like an Easter egg. Number 2, Scorbunny. I think I just slightly like Scorbunny more. It's a cute little white rabbit that leaves fire behind when it runs with a little bandage on its face. Just a solid all-around starting fire type. And number 1, Raboot. Yeah, I did not expect this before making the list, but there we go. I just really like Raboot, and it's very rare for me to say the middle stage is the best when it comes to starters. I haven't actually mapped it out, but I believe that Charmeleon and Raboot would be the only two. Maybe that would be a fun video idea someday. But yeah, no complaints with this one here. It's a Ninja Track Runner hybrid that also happens to look like a white rabbit. I'm a fan. And there we go. There hasn't been a huge variety in typing with these rabbits, but this is what we get. 4 normal, 3 fire, 1 ground, and 1 water fairy. I'm a little surprised that there hasn't been a straight up electric type rabbit, although I did mention that Plusle and Minun may or may not resemble rabbits. I guess that's as close as we get. So thank you kindly for watching, and if this video does pretty well, I'll try and do more of these a look at videos. They're pretty fun to rank and learn about, all while sorting out all the Pokemon that make up a group. Let me know your ranking of these 8 Bun friends, and if you feel like any of the secondary rabbits should be on the list, slap them on there too. The Paraspectre Patreon is always there if you wish to go above and support the channel, and if not, that's okay too. The subscribe button is always hella appreciated. I'll see you all next time for whatever I decide to do next. Happy Year of the Rabbit, my friends. Paraspectre will return.